Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Unapologetic Conversations. This is your unapologetic dude, Francis Miranda. It's a great Friday once more, and we're gonna have a very, very special topic today. We will be talking about bullying, and I don't know if any of you has ever experienced being bullied as a child, or you might be experiencing being bullied right now. So if that's you, then this is going to be a fantastic 30 minutes with our special guest. Okay, so again, throughout this entire conversation, feel free to connect with us, ask us questions, okay, and of course follow us in the unapologetic groups on Facebook. You can follow me as well on Instagram at Francis Mir and LinkedIn at Francis Miranda. So feel free to ask your questions, type them in the chat box, and we will try our best to answer them. Okay, so who's our guest for today? It's my honor to introduce her. So our guest is the founder and the CEO of Healthy Pie Inc. And Healthy Pie Inc. is an organization which creates special programs for young women, young girls, to train them against bullying. So isn't that just a fantastic mission? And they have this keynote program which is called Mighty Butterflies, which trains women to have a beautiful heart but a tough shell. So our guest, aside from being a CEO and a founder, FYI, used to be a police officer. And it's in this job that she learned a lot about anti-bullying. She became an anti-bullying expert, and today it's my honor to have her in the show. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, let's give a warm round of applause to our special guest today, Miss Nicole Brown-Grelecki. Hi, Nicole.
Hey, Francis. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no, the honor is mine. The honor is mine. So let's dive straight into our topic for today. It's a little bit of a sensitive topic. It's bullying, right? And bullying is something that when we hear it, we think that it's only applicable to kids. Like your mission is you help kids, you have little girls stand up against bullying, right? But sometimes bullying is something that happens to us as adults as well, right? So my question for you is, number one, does bullying happen to adults? And number two, what are the signs that you're being bullied as an adult? Because maybe people don't know that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for asking that. It's interesting because when I was actually a police officer, one of the jobs that I actually had was to teach the anti-bullying program as officer friendly and Too Good for Drugs program. And so I was teaching these young kids pre-K through 8th grade the actual program of how to not be a bully. And little did I know that I was actually going to be bullied myself when I was actually in the position of being a police officer.
Wow.
And so, and that was actually how I ended my career as a police officer. But, you never know that it's happening to you until you're right smack in the middle of it. And, I think people don't recognize the feelings, right? You recognize the feelings first. You think, is it me? Am I crazy? Are these feelings normal? Am I a child? Like, I think as an adult, right? Oftentimes when you're being bullied, the bully makes you feel like a child.
Oh, that's right.
They talk down to you. They try to assert power over you. They almost they talk to you in a way as if you may seem a little bit crazy, that the things that you think aren't right. And so you start to think, well, should I report it? Well, if I report it, what's going to happen to me? Right? And so what often happens is that people don't do anything about it. And so one, they either continue to work there, or they don't do anything after they even quit, and so they suffer. And it's the suffering that keeps people stuck in life.
So I love what you mentioned when you said that for many people, they are unaware that they are actually being bullied. There's a little voice in their mind that tells them that, hey, there's something wrong, but they're unaware of that. They don't know that they're being bullied, but there's this little fingernail scratching in their minds telling them that something is not right. So my question for you, Nicole, is what are these very subtle signs that you are being bullied that you don't know, that many people might not even notice it? Because I want to give our viewers right now some what you call this, some road signs, so when they see that, they know, okay, that's me, that's happening to me right now, and they can act upon it.
Yeah. So a lot of people think, bullies they just inflict physical harm, right? When you think about a bully, they often think, of kids. They don't think of it happening to adults. So when you think about a bully, they think about, in maybe junior high or high school, the two kids walking down the hallway, and we used to call it booking. When you had the bully hit the books out of the kids' hands, right?
So there's a word for that, booking. I didn't know. I only see that on TV. But
yes, well, that actually does happen, and that's called booking, and it's physical, but and that is bullying, and that can be physical to either the person themselves or things that person has, like things that they own, their property, their vehicle. So that's physical bullying, right? But it can also be verbal. It could be words that they use directly towards them, at them, about them, insults, threats, discriminating comments, constant teasing. And it's teasing if you're not appreciating what they say, right? If it's about you and you don't like it, it's bullying.
So even a small, for example, you're in the office setting and they're teasing you, and it might seem like everyone's in on the joke, but as long as you don't like that feeling, that's a form of bullying.
That's right.
Very good.
And repeated. And if it's repeated and you've asked them to stop, and if you're sitting at your desk and it gives you that feeling inside of unpleasantness, or that uncomfortable feeling where it causes you to go a different direction or change your course or take a different door, that's a sign that you're being bullied. If it causes you to change your behavior in any way, something about what somebody else is doing is bullying you.
Oh, okay. So that, I think, is a very important distinction to note, right? That it's an action of somebody else that is causing you to change your behavior in a way that you don't like. Because if you're changing your behavior into something that you like, then it's not bullying. But if it's something that you hate, then yeah. So that I think is a very important distinction.
Right. And it also could be what we call relational or social bullying.
Oh, okay.
So like this is oftentimes like when you're within a group. Okay. And so, for example, say you have a group of friends, or like you say you go to lunch with a group of friends, and we're talking not at school, but this can happen with your kids, but we're talking about in a work setting, okay? Or say you're on a team at work and you're part of that team, but say the whole team goes out to lunch, but they don't invite you. Okay. And so they're excluding you. They're rejecting you. They're cutting you off from social connections. They're shunning you. They're isolating you. They're ignoring you. They're doing that on purpose. And you have that feeling of, did I do something wrong? Am I not communicating? Like if you are getting the feeling that you did something wrong based on the actions that someone else did, that is a sign that you are being bullied.
So we've identified three signs, right? The first one is physical, which is where you beat someone up or you hit them. Verbal, you use your words, you tease people, you use your words to hurt people. And the other one is social, you isolate someone. It's a relational thing. My question for you is, How about social media? Where does social media
Yeah.
bullying come in?
Yep. So cyberbullying.
Oh,
There-
is that a fourth one then?
yes. Number 4 is called
Four.
cyberbullying.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a general term. For a long time, this was not considered a type of bullying, but because of all of the phones and cameras and social media and even now social networks, this is a type of bullying in and of itself.
Okay.
So, yep, all of the repeated hostile behavior that can happen within a group.
Mm-hmm.
This is a type of bullying where if that person has an intention of, causing harm, trying to inflict harm or blame that person for something that they didn't actually do, or favor themselves over someone else, right? Because oftentimes, like in these social networks, people are trying to sell stuff, right?
Yes.
Which you're not supposed to shame somebody else to get sales for yourself. That's not how the rules are actually supposed to work. You're just supposed to do it out of the kindness of your heart, because what you're doing or what you're selling is just good, right? They're supposed to choose you because you're good. So that is a form of cyberbullying.
Wonderful. So we've identified 4 types of bullying, right? And I thank you very much for making that very clear, because like what I said, many people are unaware of that. Like many people don't even know that sinking feeling they're feeling, or that feeling of unease, is something that is actually already a form of bullying, which leads me to my next question then. If you are in that situation, let's say you've noticed that people have verbally bullied you, or they physically bullied you, or they've shunned you, or they've even bullied you through the internet. So the question is, how do you stand up to that?
Well, it's important to note that it is important to do something, because 57% of the time, within the first 10 seconds, it will stop the bully of doing it again if you respond within the first 10 seconds.
Oh, that's a very powerful tip. So respond within the first 10 seconds.
Right. So, and it's by taking action. Sometimes it's by taking action with inaction. Okay. Meaning, and my first one is going to make sense by this, meaning with cyberbullying, okay, and this is important. My first recommendation, particularly with cyberbullying, is do not respond.
Do not respond. Okay, there you go.
Do not respond. Ignore it, because oftentimes people in cyberbullying want to start the back and forth.
Okay. So for all of you viewers right now, if you have a question, guys, please type it in the chat box, okay? Because Nicole would love to answer your questions. Okay, thank you very much, Nicole. Can you continue? So you said first, ignore it, okay?
Second is to document. If somebody continues, if you don't respond, but somebody continues to harass you or to bully you, and I make that distinction, okay? Because when you're an adult and somebody continues to bully you, it's called harassment, and both are criminal. They can.
So the adult word for it is harassment. Okay.
Yes, it's unfortunate, but yes, that is where that's the fine line that we're starting to walk.
Okay.
Is harassment, and so people. And this is where it kind of gets sticky, right? Because you're at work and you're like, well, it's not harassment because I'm at work. But when it becomes repetitive and it becomes habitual, it then becomes harassment. And so this is where the next 3 steps become vital. So document.
Document it, okay? Like screen grab it.
So do not delete it. So, and this is important, because most people, when somebody starts to harass them, they like, delete. That's embarrassing. I don't want anybody to know that that's happening to me, right? And you might, that for the first time, okay. But when it continues to happen, unfortunately, even a screenshot, document it.
Okay.
Keep them, make a file, store them, put them in an email, make a, print them out and put them in a folder. So document, don't delete them. You must have proof and keep copies. The second one is to report it.
Okay.
Report it to your boss. If they may or may not listen to you, but you can also report it to social media, whether your boss listens to you or not, depending upon where the harassment is happening, like on cyberbullying, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of these social media platforms have a policy now. So you need to report it to the actual platform, and they will help you now. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. Now they will, which is great. Also, again, because we're on this fine line of bullying / harassment, say your boss won't help you, it becomes repetitive and habitual. Say, for example, you're at work, somebody starts to harass you. Now they're moving to physical damage to your car.
Wow.
Then what does that become? That's now not just harassment, but physical damage to property. Now you need to call the police. Do you see how there's an escalation? And I understand that it's embarrassing, but it needs to be reported to not just the boss, not just the property manager of the building, but also to the police.
And then
finally, cut off communication. Block them on your phone, block them on social media, block them on all the platforms, cut them off. Or worst case scenario, change your number. I know that's drastic, but in my experience, that has had to happen. And then finally, and please, most importantly, and Francis, I've heard you talk about this on your platform.
Yes.
Please be aware and seek help if you need it, because there are so many effects of bullying and harassment that go beyond the surface of our bodies. And, I've provided the suicide prevention line. Call 911 if you need to. And please seek out to get counseling if you need it, because the effects of bullying, as we know now with, unfortunately, school shootings, unfortunately with workplace shootings, bullying goes far deeper than the surface.
Yes. I think what's important to know is you have to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. And I think that's a very powerful statement that you gave. There is something, though, that I want to circle back to. Because I think the thing that you said was that, one thing that struck me, the thing that you said was that you gotta respond within the first 10 seconds. And in my experience with bullying, and I have a confession to make, Nicole, okay? So my confession to make is that when I was in grade school, I was in the middle of the rung. So I was bullied by some people, but I was also the bully towards other people. So I was kind of like in the middle of the rung. And I have a funny story about that, right? I had a funny story where I was in a retreat, in a religious Catholic retreat, right? And one of the speakers, when I saw him, I said, "Oh my God, I know this guy from grade school." And the guy was walking to the front of the stage, and he was going to be our speaker. And I said, "Oh my gosh, is he going to talk about bullying?" And he talked about bullying, and I was so afraid he was going to. In fact, one of my bullies is over there, and I was like terrified. I was terrified of that moment. But I've also had my own share of bullying, right? And the one thing that I discovered, which I think is a very powerful thing that you taught us, is that you need to respond in the first 10 seconds, because bullies are actually cowards.
They are.
They are. So my question for you is, if you are the person, let's say you're in the office right now, and somebody did something that you don't like, that you took it as bullying, what would be the action that you would recommend for the first 10 seconds so that you can nip it in the bud?
You could try saying, "Why would you say that to me?"
Mm-hmm.
You could say, "Are you trying to hurt my feelings?"
So you confront.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a list of one-liners.
Oh, okay.
You could say, "Are you trying to be mean?"
Are you trying to be mean?
You could say, "You can leave me alone now."
Mm.
And oftentimes, I think most bullies aren't expecting you to say things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, my dog, of course, knocking at the door.
Your dog is bullying us now.
He's bullying me. Do you see this?
So we have a very interesting conversation, guys. So again, feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. We would love to answer any question you might have. Okay, so back to you, Nicole.
I apologize.
No worries.
We're at home and we are real. You could say, "I have better things to do with my time than listen to this." That's pretty funny, but you can stop now. Right? Because what you don't want to do is to laugh. Because if you laugh, then you're almost encouraging them.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Because when we're laughing, we're accepting the bullying.
I love that.
And so what I want to do with these mighty butterflies is to give them this strong skin so they can shield themselves from these bullies, right? So they can shield themselves and equip them with the thick skin that they need, right? Because we know that this world is not a fun world to be in sometimes. We know this.
It's a very harsh world.
It is. And I'm not saying that everybody's evil. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that when they need it, because even I didn't think that I was going to need it. And Francis, I am sure that there are people out there that thought that I was not, and I am not perfect. Okay. I have said my fair share, and I'm quite competitive. So I'm sure in the right moment, right, I have said things that I have not meant. But and as like you, we want to serve from the heart now. Who are we now, right? And how can we serve from purpose now? And I think my purpose now is to help these girls and anyone out there right now to know that you don't have to live in this state where you have to accept the bullying.
Yes. So Angel Arcea said, true that. So let's pivot now and talk about your mighty butterflies, because that's something that I want to get into as well. I remember one of the things we were talking about, especially when it comes to the mighty butterfly idea, was that you're teaching them to have a tough skin, but at the same time maintain their tender and loving hearts. Because I think the risk is when you are faced with trauma, which comes from maybe like bullying, and you develop the tough skin, it also means that you could possibly develop a tough heart, which means suddenly, you lose your humanity, you lose what makes you special, you become cynical and bitter. Instead of being a beautiful butterfly, you become like, I don't know, a horrendous spider. Right?
Right.
I can think of, right? And I'm sure right now, there's a lot of viewers out there who's watching this who are parents. And maybe some of these parents, they have their own kids being bullied. And maybe I'm sure there are going to be people from the Philippines watching this, for example. They won't be able to send their kids to your program, for example. But my question now for you is, if it's a parent watching right now and you know for a fact that your kid is being bullied, what do you think you can do as a parent to help coach your child to be able to stand up on their own and become a mighty butterfly?
Okay. So I am a person to be all hands on, and part of my program is going to be online. So, but if you have a paper in your hand,
okay,
and you write the word "I'm sorry." So if a bully tells you that they're sorry, and I want to make this I want you to crumple up this piece of paper, okay? Because it's going to make it very apparent. So if you do have a kid, I want you to go like this, and then to make it really, have them step on it, have them do a whole bunch of different things, right? And I've done this with my own Girl Scout troops that I lead and things, right? And then you have them open it up, okay? Now, if you have them look at this piece of paper, even though this bully said that they were sorry, but if you imagine every single wrinkle in this paper represents all of the things that that bully did to your son or daughter, or what that bully did to you in the workplace, can those things actually be undone? Can you unwrinkle all the wrinkles of the paper after you crumple it up? For every crumple, every offense, everything that bully did to you, right? For everything that they do, even though they say they're sorry, can you take it away? No. So what I want to do is help them create the strongest, thickest skin. And you can do this too. Tell your son or daughter, appear confident.
Okay.
Appear confident. Make eye contact if you can. Even though it hurts and even though it might be painful. For the moment that they're doing it to you, make eye contact. Try not to appear like you're the victim. And try to embody the fact that even though the bully has bullied you, it does not define you. And what does that mean? It means that you didn't do anything to deserve it. Just because they hurt you and just because they came after you doesn't mean that you did anything wrong to deserve it. Number 4 is be assertive. So in the moment that this is happening, that first 10 seconds, make eye contact. Be assertive. When I give you those one-liners, say them with confidence. Even if you don't necessarily feel it, say it with confidence in that first 10 seconds. Try to build their self-esteem. And how do you do that? Find activities they are good at, right? Find anything they're good at. So what we're doing in our group is, my daughter's good at science, so we're doing science experiments. My other daughter is good at singing. She wants to talk about her and singing anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And so she doesn't necessarily want to sing on camera right now, but we allow her to sing when it's okay. She also wants to talk about her bakery. And so right now she wants to be on live, and we let her do that. Let them build self-esteem in what they are comfortable with, and let yourself. So like after work, maybe you're not comfortable at work, but maybe you like Taekwondo. Go do that. Maybe you like tennis. Go do that. Build your confidence in something after work.
That's something that I think is a very, very powerful statement that you mentioned. The idea that you've got to build self-esteem by focusing on things that you're good at. I think one of the challenges that a person who's being bullied into, or one of the circumstances that makes a person enter into that state where they're comfortable being bullied, is the fact that maybe there's a problem as well in self-esteem. And by strengthening that self-esteem, you're also helping them create precisely that shield where my self-esteem is not dependent on you.
Right.
You can treat me badly, but I don't give a shit because my self-esteem is not built on you.
It's not dependent on you.
And I love that. I love that, because if you train the kid to be that independent, so that, for example, if a bunch of mean girls makes fun of her, right? which is one of my favorite movies, Mean Girls. Confession time, okay? so so if one of these mean girls, for example, makes fun of your daughter, but you built her self-esteem to the level that it's impenetrable, then she's not gonna give a shit. I don't care. You can say what you want about me. I don't care. It's just water on a rock. It gushes over me. And you know what? It's funny because I've met people like that. I have a friend whose daughter is, she would fall under the definition of, she's kind of different. So she has a different style,
Yep.
which would open her up to teasing, right? Because she's kind of odd. Okay. She has she likes weird things. She does it weirdly, but it's her own style. But the one thing that I'm so impressed about this girl was that her parents have trained her to simply not care about she doesn't care if she's not the popular girl in school. She's one happy girl. She does what she likes. She plays her musical instruments like the violin or whatnot. She doesn't care whether she's teased in school. And the parents, I remember, were telling me that we're so proud we were able to raise a very strong-willed girl, that she doesn't care about being popular. She just cares about being herself. I think that's a very powerful statement.
Exactly.
And would you say, Nicole, that that's not just applicable to young girls, but also for adults like us?
Absolutely. I mean, isn't that what you're unapologetic in you created this group exactly for that reason.
There you go.
You're coming into your own and you're being unique. I mean, I have a tattoo to be beautiful, be you, be unique, be you. This is exactly like why my passion is to just be you, right? And if they build their self-esteem and what they're comfortable in doing, then they're gonna find friends, right? I found you, Francis, because I'm like, yes, I believe in you. I am unapologetic, just as you are. I'm gonna be unique, just like you. And right now we're friends, and I'm gonna nurture our friendship because we found each other to be just by being us, right? We don't have to be the same, but we are gonna nurture each other because we are comfortable with being ourselves, right? And that's number 6. Because then you nurture each other in your uniqueness, and I'm going to support you, and you're going to support me, and isn't this a wonderful world?
That's it. And I guess, that for me is a fantastic way to wrap up our conversation today, because I love how we went from the journey where, number one, it starts off with you being confident. And when you are confident and comfortable in your own skin, the universe will send you the right friends who will become your posse. And there will come a time when those mean girls are not going to matter to you anymore, because I don't care about you. We have our own group. And I love what you're doing. I really want to commend you for what you're doing with your Mighty Butterflies, because by creating this little group of fellow Mighty Butterflies, I mean, I can already imagine them as Amazon women, like Wonder Woman, right? They're full of love in their hearts, but they're tough as nails. And I think Wonder Woman is like your perfect avatar.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up today, Nicole, we went over. It's amazing. I mean, this conversation is so interesting. Time just blew by.
Yep.
People want to get in touch with you. Let's say a parent who wants to possibly look into your program, or they just want to get in touch with you because, hey, Nicole, I'm suffering from being bullied right now. I don't know what to do. How can they get in touch with you?
Yes, I would love for you to find me. I have a group on Facebook. It is Healthy Pie Community, or you can email me at healthypieinc at gmail.com.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Nicole. So please connect with Nicole if you guys have problems with bullying, like your kids are undergoing bullying. Check out Nicole's page on Facebook. They have a lot of resources there, and you can also email her. And before we end today as well, I'd like to invite you guys to follow us. If you've not followed me in the group, please join our group, the Unapologetics group in Facebook. Nicole is a part of that. She's an active contributor. And I'm also present on Instagram at Francis Mir and LinkedIn at Francis Miranda. So before we end, Nicole, what is one last statement you want to share out there to the universe? To the unapologetic out there.
Believe in yourself, and the rest will follow.
Believe in yourself and the rest will follow. Thank you very much, Nicole, for spending this time with us. On behalf of the Unapologetics, we want to thank you guys. And to all of you guys who are watching, we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.